Hi, and welcome back to Knit Habits. My name is Christina. This is episode 2, and today is Wednesday, April 19th, 2023. I would like to thank everybody that spent some time watching my first episode. I truly appreciate any time that you spent with me. And to the subscribers that decided to check me out again or want to check me out again in the future, I really appreciate that you guys wanted to spend some time with me. So thank you very much and welcome in. Today I have 2 finished objects, 2 whips, some upcoming projects, and also just to discuss something that I'd like to start to have for all of you that decide to join me, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I also have a couple of acquisitions and just some, updates on what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, as well as what I have been reading. So I will start by talking about a little bit about the shirt that I'm wearing and where I got it. Obviously, as I discussed in the previous episode, I am a therapist, so I do think that therapy is for everyone, and I am definitely here to, in part, obviously, talk about fiber arts and knitting, but also to talk about destigmatizing therapy and mental health as well. So yes, therapy is definitely for everyone. I did get this shirt from a company online, and here is their tag. This is for Mahogany Mommies is what it's called. Here is a little bit about them. It says, we are a Black woman-owned t-shirt brand company that aims to spark conversations and spread good vibes one tea at a time. Started by a single mother and high school teacher, Joy, J-O-I, I hope I'm saying it right, sought out to create teas that highlight social justice issues and positive messaging. The shirt that she's wearing there, I actually have. It says, drink water, love hard, fight racism. I have that shirt in pink as well. And then when I saw this one, I definitely knew that I had to go get it. They are Mahogany Mommies pretty much everywhere. Instagram, TikTok. Their website is mahoganymommies.com. So I hope that you guys can go and check them out and see what they are all about. So just to put that one out there. So the finished objects that I have today are the 2 cowls that I was working on last time. So just to refresh your memory, I have the 22 Cowl by Casapinka that I was making in NJ Fiberworks. The main color, the lighter yellow color here at the top, is called Yellow Specks, and then the darker orange color here is called Burnt Orange. So that I got finished up. Really enjoyed this pattern. So I'll bring it in here close for you so you can see the different stitch patterns. And really like this lace pattern here. Little slip stitches, some basket weave, which is where I was last time. You can kind of see that there. And then some dip stitches, and then it ends here with just some stockinette stitch. But I really enjoyed the different texture pattern here. This is definitely something that I'll wear. It's lightweight. It's something that I can just put on in the spring or fall, winter, obviously. So really enjoyed this pattern. One that I would definitely recommend if you just want something, especially during the summer, warmer months. This would be a good one to have on your needles for sure. So that's a finished object. Finished object number 2 is the Killer Queen Cowl by Mary. Annarella is actually the pattern designer there. I did do this in Malabrigo Rios. In the main color here is Peachy, and then this contrast color is that Archangel. So little bubble patterns. This is what she called the little bubbles, the big bubbles, and then the champagne flutes here. And then you just stitch it up in the back. And I can just throw this on real fast for you. There we go. So a fun one. You can wear it kind of off to the side with that little triangle there, or you know, down the middle like that. So another one that I enjoyed that I can just, again, wear in those cooler months. So definitely recommend that one as well. There's that. The first WIP I have for you today is the Big Cozy Cardi by Andrea Mowry out of the Foxhill Farm yarn. That is 80% Cormo wool and 20% silk. I have made about 5 or 6 inches of progress since the last time. That's where I was when I recorded the first episode, and I have made some progress there. That has a little progress keeper on it that says made with love, that I got from the bag that I showed last time with the coffee drinking gnomes on it from Redsley Creates. That came on her business card. So that's where I got that cute little made with love stitch marker there. And still enjoying this process of making this cardigan. It is a long, tedious process with it being 30 inches, but making good progress. About 20 inches that I've made so far, so I have about 10 more to go. So we'll get there on that journey together, and hopefully by the time I show this one again, I will be starting that shawl collar in the mohair. So that is the progress on that one. The second work in progress that I have is a shawl out of the Contrast book by Laine Publishing. Here is the designer. Here, I'm not going to butcher the name at all, so you guys can all read it, and I'll have it linked below as well. As you can tell by my lovely sticky notes, there's a ton of different projects out of this book. It's really beautiful. I very rarely do I get a book that I want to make, I don't know, 6 or 7 patterns out of. This one just really loved the book, the patterns in this book. So the shawl that I'm making is called Green Cress. The yarn that I'm using for the Green Cress is this Sirdar merino silk, and it is 75% merino, 20% silk, 5% cashmere, and it is in the colorway Polished Copper. There is a really good close-up of the color. It's really true to color. It's a very almost, I would say, cantaloupe-y color. It's really just beautiful, really soft. So I'm hoping that will make a really pretty shawl. And as you can see in the picture, there is cables on that and some garter stitch. So I will hold this up here as well so you can see my progress. I have done a few of the repeats. I believe you do 29 of these, the section here, cable repeats, and then you pick it up and do the border that's on there. So that is the progress that I have so far there, and then the garter section there. So really enjoying that one. I really love cables and that texture. So hopefully, you know, we'll get to see that one together and get the finished object there. I think this one's going to be pretty large. It uses, I believe, like over 700 yards, so it should be a nice large shawl. So looking forward to that. The 2 future projects that I have are summer tops, because it is getting that warm season, so it's definitely time to start thinking about our warmer weathered knits. The first one is the Mount Pillier top by Anne Fiscum Sunday, and I'm thinking about making that out of the Sandus Garn Tick Lena, which is 53% cotton, 33% viscose, and 14% linen, and it is in the wonderful colorway of 6061, everybody's favorite 6061. So even though this has linen and cotton in it, it's a very soft yarn, and I'm looking forward to having that. It's kind of a vest type top. It does have a detail under the arms. So looking forward to getting that one cast on. That should be cast on by the time I record the next episode. the next project I need some help with because I'm not exactly sure which of these 3 yarns I should use for this next one. This is the Plumeria top by Woolen Pine. It's in their green book and it's book 2. Part of the reason that I'm wondering and wanting your help on this one is that one of these yarns that I'm about to show you here has some bamboo in it. So I need your help because I'm not sure if I should make a V-neck top that has spaghetti straps in it as a larger chested woman with something that is going to, my understanding at least, is with bamboo that it can grow and kind of get weighed down. So love your help, love your opinion on if you think that this would be a good yarn for that or not. So this yarn is by the Wicked Knitta. There's her tag. And I don't believe she's carrying this line of yarn with the bamboo in it anymore. This is kind of deep stash, but nonetheless, it's beautiful yarn, so might as well use it for something. Here's the tag for it. This is Enchanted Love, 80% superwash merino, 20% bamboo. So wondering if there's enough wool in it that it's not going to have that issue with it being weighed down or growing, or if you would recommend one of the other options that I'm going to go over here. The other one is also by the Wicked Knitta. There's her tag again. This one is just so my colors, and it's just a beautiful yarn. Greens, turquoise, orange, pinks, maroons, just beautiful. And it's called Tahitian Set, and it is 100% blue face Leicester, so 100% wool, still really soft. So that is one of the options as well. And then the next one is by Hypnotic Yarn. And here is the tag for that one. And this is in Sunflower Power, 85% superwash merino, 15% nylon. And wow, what beautiful speckles they have there. Absolutely gorgeous, beautiful summertime colors. So those are the 3 options I have. Would love to have your opinion. And then once I have some of your thoughts on that one, I can go ahead and get that one started. The next section is actually something that I would really like to start, and I would like to start it because I really want to have a spotlight and on you guys that are, tuning in with me every week to see what kind of stuff I'm getting up to and what I'm making, and I would really like to be able to showcase you guys as well. I know on my first episode, the only other one, I did say that I wanted to have or start a community, and I really did mean that. And I thought that being able to spotlight you all would be the best way to do that. So I'm going to call it Spotlight on Y'all. So I'm hoping you guys can send me your finished objects. It doesn't have to be knitting. It can be crochet, embroidery, cross stitch, whatever things you guys are working on. I would love to be able to highlight them. So if you can send me an email at knithabits@gmail.com. And, let me know your name, maybe just your first name if you want, and what you have been working on, what it's made out of, and I would love to be able to showcase that for you guys as well and really start to build that community. As far as acquisitions go, I don't have too much yarn. I do have a little bit. Still trying to do that yarn diet, but like any diet, we're not perfect at them, right? So I did purchase some yarn. It's from Knit Picks. It's Knit Picks Static. Here you go. In the colorway John Boy. And I'll tell you why I just had to buy that. So it just has some really pretty pinks, mauves, beige, blue, purple, just fun patterning. I think it is a self-striping yarn that I saw. So it is just 437 yards, 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon in their static. in their static line here. Had to get this one once I saw the name of it. It being a girl that grew up in the 70s and 80s, definitely watched the Waltons, and in all truth, John Boy was my imaginary husband when I was a little girl, and so anytime I see anything John Boy related, it's one of those things where I have to get. So this will be some socks or something fun at some point. I did get two of those, so I have two to make something. So just a little fun thing that I just had to do. The other thing that I purchased was I got a really pretty yarn bowl here from the Naughty Knitress from Andi over. She is 3D printing these, and they are just fabulous. I mean, look at the shine on that. Can't wait to get something going in there. Have to say the customer service was great. She shipped it out right away. Cute pack stickers on the front of the box, packaged really well, and she definitely included some goodies in here. This is the small size, which, I don't know, still fairly large, I have to say. I think I can fit a decent sized ball of yarn in there. Maybe not a full skein, but when it gets lower, or, maybe a mini or something like that. But just really pretty. I love the colors on it. I love the shine. So go on over and check out the Naughty Knitress. And she, of course, included some extras in there too. So you might get some tea, a really great measuring tape with her logo on there. Who doesn't need a new measuring tape? We all need new measuring tapes, I'm sure. And orange is my favorite color, so perfect on that one. She included a sticker, and then a magnet for her as well, so you can see her website on there. So go check out Andi. She has a whole bunch of different projects, things that she's made on her knitting machine. I think her husband is dyeing yarn, so she's just so creative and just such a sweet person, so definitely go check her out. So those are the only acquisitions I have this time. So we shall jump right into what I am reading. So I am currently reading a book series that I have read a few times and have actually been able to meet the author of. It's Kim Harrison is the author, and it's the Hollows book series, or Rachel Morgan series. And if you guys are into urban fantasy, like reading mysteries and just going along with a girl on her journey of life and figuring out who she is with some friends like vampires, witches, demons, pixies, fairies, elves, then definitely go check that out. She has, the series was supposed to end after book, I believe, 15, but she has started writing some more in that series and is actually coming out with another one. So that is a book series that I comfort read. I love being lost in the land of the hollows, as she calls it. And, Rachel's journey with her roommate, which is Ivy Tamwood. She's a living vampire, meaning that they haven't had their first death and are now what we would traditionally, I guess, think of as vampires. And so, and Jinx is the pixie, and they all go out and fight crimes and come on a journey. And there's definitely love and loss and all the fun things in that series. So if you're interested, definitely check out Kim Harrison's Hollow series. She calls it the Hollows because the coming out of all of these creatures, most of the people that are non-human, let's say, that are elves and pixies and fairies and witches and demons, live in what they call the Hollows in Cincinnati, Ohio. So really fun series of books. The other book that I'm reading, or series of books, it's a book series that I'm reading, is called The Crossbreed series by Danica Dark. I'm on the third book. It's called Death Trap. I'm just a few chapters in, so I haven't gotten very far in that one. But in that one, urban fantasy again, there is vampires, grave walkers that talk to ghosts, people that are were animals that change into werewolves. There's a lady in there that turns into an eagle. People that are called sensors that can pick up the emotions of other people. Oh, you can see one of my dogs. That's Fred. And he's decided to join us here. Hi. And so they solve crimes again and mysteries, and there's love and intrigue. And it's just a really, so far, a really fun series. I hope that I love reading series of books. I'm not much of a one-off book reader, but definitely like a good series with a strong female lead. So those are the two books that are book series that I'm currently reading. And life updates. What have I been getting up to? Well, I went on my first ghost investigation with the ghost, it's just called the Ghost Guild here in North Carolina, and we were able to go this last weekend on Saturday. My husband and I went. I went and did the ghost hunt, not him. He is a true skeptic, does not think ghosts exist. I am one of those people that watch all the ghost shows. I've been watching Taps and Ghost Hunters for years and years. Kindred Spirits is actually another one that I watch on Discovery Plus that I really enjoy. Just the way that they do that, and they bring in mediums, and I find it to be just really fascinating. And so wanted to, in my journey of watching these shows for like 20 years, really always wanted to be able to go do an investigation. And so I was able to sign up and go do what they called a public investigation. They only sold like 15 tickets, but so some of us were lucky enough to be able to go on to the USS North Carolina in Wilmington, which is about 2 hours south of where I live. So my husband and I went out there. I got to do the ghost hunt, and it was really a fun experience. I can't say that I had any super ghostly experiences or was touched or anything like that. When at one point when we were there, it had been a really quiet night. Hadn't really had many experiences going up and down on the ship, but the girl that was running the our group of people was joking around when we were in the sick bay, and this ship happened to be used. It's a battleship. It was used during World War II, and it had about 2,300 men on it. And so she was joking around. We were sitting in the dark in the sick bay area, because we hadn't really heard anything, and she joked around and said, "Hey guys, we haven't you aren't servicing us women," just kind of a joke. And about 2 seconds later we hear this what sounded like a door slam, and there wasn't anybody else around. We were all kind of seated close to each other, so we knew it wasn't anybody that was in our area. So it was just kind of a funny experience. Can't say it was supernatural or paranormal or not, but it was fun. Maybe I'll get to do some more ghost investigations again at some point. I hope to. I would love to actually have one of my own experiences someday, but really glad that I got to do that. So I'd like to end today in the little therapy talk section, a little bit about vulnerability. And I'm not going to talk a lot about it, only because the person that I got a lot of this information from that I'm going to go over is from Brene Brown. And that's Brene with a B, and I will have her linked below. She has done extensive research, at least over a decade of research on vulnerability and guilt and shame, and so she's really the guru, especially in my field that we all go to, definitely to talk about those topics. And so I don't want to talk too much about it, but want to just talk a little bit about vulnerability, and where Brene Brown says that vulnerability comes from. So I am going to read from my notes a little bit here. And one of the things that Brene Brown says is that vulnerability is not weakness. I know a lot of the times when people feel vulnerable, oftentimes people will say that they think that they're weak. I know when I talk to people and they're upset or they're crying and they apologize for that, and there's nothing to apologize for, ever in that moment. You're just being a human being, and you're being vulnerable, and it's not always an easy thing, and it does take courage to be vulnerable. So if you watch the videos that I have linked below from Brene Brown, she'll definitely go into how it takes courage to be vulnerable. So what she says is that vulnerability is emotional risk, exposure, and uncertainty. And that vulnerability is the birthplace of creativity, innovation, and change. And the definition that she says is the definition of creativity that she uses is to make something that has never existed before. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is I remember having a conversation with my husband once. I think I was reading an article or I heard something on a podcast, something about people that follow patterns aren't creative. And I thought, how terrible, how shame, how that would bring somebody to feel shame. And how terrible that would be, especially for us as makers of people that do follow patterns or create patterns, because I'm pretty sure that people that have created patterns want to see other people and what they make and how they make it and the colors they choose. And I think that that's one of the beautiful things about this community and making is that everybody, has, while we're following a pattern, everybody has their own take on it, right? You might pick a different color or a different yarn than the maker or the designer had used, and it turns out just as beautiful. And so want to make sure that everybody knows that that we're all making things that had never existed before, from fiber, from spinning fiber and then making something out of it, a cowl, a sweater, socks, a hat, whatever it is. That is a creative process and journey, and we have to be able to be vulnerable sometimes in our making, and that could be learning, making a podcast, putting yourself out there, asking for help, maybe taking something that, making your own patterns. So whether that vulnerability needs to come into your making, in your creative journey, or in some other aspect of your life right now, please know that it is not weakness. You will become a more beautiful person in that vulnerability and through that creative process. And so I just want to leave you today, as I hope to in future podcasts, in saying that go and give yourself the same grace that you would give everyone else. And happy making.